Happy draft day, Giants Nation. From All Blue Giants, we have an action packed pod ahead of us. We've been gone for a little bit, but we're back for the draft season.
Hell yeah.
We're hype, and we got some great things to talk about. Definitely going to get into it. Definitely, let's just dive right into it. But definitely
Absolutely.
be some arguing, and we're all for it though. So kick it off to what everyone's been wondering and what everyone's been speculating. All Giants Twitter has been, arguing with everybody about this subject, and it's the quarterback situation. The Giants obviously hold the sixth pick, and you have the Bears, the Commanders, and the Patriots at 1, 2, and 3. And they could very well all take quarterbacks. And the top three quarterbacks are, of course, Caleb Williams, Drake May, and Jaden Daniels. And they could obviously be off the board by the time the Giants pick. But Jaden Daniels is definitely a question mark there. You're not 100% sure if he gets taken or what the Patriots do. But after the Giants, or right before, the Cardinals and Chargers, definitely not going to take a quarterback. Giants at 6, and then you have the Titans and Falcons right after the Giants, who could be on the prowl for a quarterback there. But there's kind of two different categories of quarterback. You got the A pluses or the 1As, and then you got the 1Bs and maybe the 1Cs that are a little bit of a project later draft, maybe round 2, round 3 type quarterbacks. And that includes JJ McCarthy, Bo Nix, and Michael Penix, which JJ McCarthy, there was a lot of buzz about JJ McCarthy possibly the Giants trading back and then picking him, getting some draft capital, and then taking JJ McCarthy. There's been a lot of buzz in general
Mhm.
during the draft about JJ. I don't know what's good with him. I think he's just a check down merchant or handoff merchant. But um, anyway. Uh, so those are the three guys that are possible for the Giants, really, unless they want to trade up and go get a quarterback, which we will talk into a little bit later. But you look at Penix; he was the Heisman runner-up. Uh, is considered the number 66th player and the fifth quarterback according to Bleacher Report. He had 4,903 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions last season. Then you look at Bo Nix, was a Heisman finalist. According to Bleacher Report, is the number 70th player on the big board. Had 4,508 passing yards, 45 touchdowns with Oregon. And then, of course, you look at J.J. McCarthy, 55 on the Bleacher Report big board, and had the natty. He had 2,991 yards and 22 touchdowns in 2023, which is, if you look at the stats, it's a huge drop off. But apparently, NFL GMs love a winning quarterback, which is kind of weird. I'm not gonna lie, because his stats really didn't correlate with the Michigan winning. They had a two-headed running back duo there that really just took the league by storm, and their defense was obviously unstoppable. So they didn't really ask too much of McCarthy. Jim Harbaugh's scheme kind of just placed him at a not turn over the ball quarterback situation, kind of just take care of it, really not slinging the ball that much.
Mhm.
Very conservative. But as Joe Shane said, it's a good quarterback draft.
Yeah.
Not just at the top. There are some guys that are at the mid levels that I think will be good number twos. There are some guys that can be number threes in the draft.
Yeah.
And there was buzz about JJ McCarthy being drafted or possibly the Giants trading back. Um, that's crazy because I've just seen multiple stuff about how McCarthy could sit a year behind DJ, and then he's one of those quarterbacks that those three guys are kind of like, you draft them, they'll probably not start right off the bat. They'll probably be on the bench for a year, maybe two, and then get out there.
Yeah. But the thing with that and having a guy like JJ McCarthy sit, you got to think about the age gap too between JJ McCarthy and a guy like Bo Nix, who's been
That's true.
in college for I don't even know how long at this point. But
Long
I
time.
think he's 24 years old, and you have JJ McCarthy who just turned 21. So pretty big gap there. And I think I'm interested to see how the league adjusts after seeing Jordan Love's success.
Yeah.
And I think it's been a pretty big narrative of like if you could let these guys sit, that they might actually benefit more so than throwing them right into the fire because it seems like it's been a winning strategy.
Also,
Um,
Pat Mahomes, if you want to take a look at that too.
yeah, no, you look at the list of quarterbacks who sat for a year behind a veteran quarterback and just learned. The hit rate is actually insane, and seems like something that the Packers would keep doing. But yeah, the draft definitely seems like there's some guys at the top that are like those blue chip, big arm guys, the Caleb's, the Jadens, the Drake
Oh,
May.
yeah.
But yeah, then that bottom half, and even another guy that didn't even touch on Spencer Rattler
Spencer Rattler.
coming out of high school. He was number one. As you know, some dynasty guys and some Devy guys will tell you, like Spencer Rattler was supposed to be all the hotness. So it would be interesting to see, even if they took a deep shot. I think I'd be fine with throwing a third round pick it if any of these guys keep falling, like if a Penix or a Rattler or any of those guys fall. I'd be interested in that. I don't know about at the top because I think there's some other guys that could be for sure home run shots.
Yeah.
But it's really going to depend on how it all starts to fall, and I think
Yeah.
that's kind of like you're talking with some of the mocks and what's going on at the top.
No, yeah. Like, even just the Giants have the 39th pick in the second round, and a lot of people thinking that maybe that could be used, or even just a third round pick. It depends how far. Obviously, you can't dictate what's going to happen in the draft. If we take a look at a few past years, obviously, like Malik Willis was a huge one, or even just Will Levis.
Mhm.
Those guys dropped a little farther than predicted. Um,
And
but
and weren't the
I
Giants super interested in like a Hendon Hooker or something like last year? Like
Yeah, yeah. They interviewed him a bunch of times. They would have been interested in him. I think the Lions took him. Was he a third round pick?
I want to say around that.
Second? Third? I think he was a third. Not sure, but yeah, the Giants were interested in just letting him sit behind, because obviously they locked up DJ for that big contract at the
Hmm.
beginning of the year. So he would have sat maybe 2-3 years, seeing if they could got any production out of him. But here, this is a tough situation. Obviously, we know what's been going down with DJ, and coming back from an ACL tear. A lot of people are thinking that this could be Dable and Shane's really last stance if they have a terrible season, and a lot of speculation with who's going to be calling the plays, Kafka or Dable. And I feel like Dable is a type of coach. If this is his last year indefinitely, or just this is a prove it year, he's going to want to do everything his way and in his own hands. And it's up to him, really, if it's like that, if he trusts DJ. I love DJ, but he does have his fair share of injuries. Take a look. He has, the neck injuries. Obviously, a torn ACL isn't something lightly to come back from. But you take a look. Does Dabes want to roll with DJ again? Obviously, they locked him up. I don't think they hate him. Shane had to say at the press conference that he's QB1, but that'll literally tie into our next point. Is there's many rumors that the Giants trading up is the worst kept secret in the NFL Combine. So here's a quote right out the book: is the worst kept secret of the NFL Combine might not just be the Giants' desire to select a quarterback in the upcoming NFL draft, but their willingness to trade up and go get a quarterback in this year's draft. The problem, though, is just there going to be one for them to go up there and take? So I did mention about them trading back for JJ McCarthy possibly, or maybe just a wide receiver. But also there's been buzz about them trading up to like number 3, and trading with either the Patriots or even the Cardinals, trying to get one of those blue chip quarterbacks like we were talking. However, one of those blue chip quarterbacks I feel like is very iffy. 50-50 shot on him falling is Jaden Daniels, quarterback out of LSU. I've seen a lot of mock drafts where he falls to the Giants, maybe even beyond. But I also seen mock drafts where the Patriots take him at 3, and it's really up to the Patriots, because I feel like the Patriots just want to hit a reset button and try to go get a quarterback. If not, they'd probably be in the Marvin Harrison Jr. Slate,
Sweepstakes.
or yeah, sweepstakes, or that would be the Cardinals. It's whoever. But I have seen a lot of mocks there, and Joe Shane is relentless to pull the trigger there. If he wants his guy, he's going to go pull the trigger. And I feel like this draft, it's really going to see it's how they're going to play out. Like, do the Bears want to trade their pick,
I
or are
don't.
they just going to take Caleb?
Yeah, I don't see the Bears
Um,
trading that pick. I
Most
think
likely.
I think for the most part I think they're keeping it open because I think Poles knows that you got to be a negotiator, so you got to leave it open to see if someone comes in with an absurd offer. I think the only way I see them trading is I actually like with Washington, which
Yeah.
is I think that's the only scenario. I think that the Bears are pretty much locked in at using this pick to reset their rookie contract for the QB. So if it's not Caleb, it's Jaden. If it's not Jaden, it's Drake May. But like I really see them as going in there. And the only narrative for Washington doing that is Caleb is a DMC guy, so Maryland, DC, all that. So I could see that if they want to like try to build a little narrative around that, really like ponying up some picks for that. But I think Caleb is coming off at the top. I don't see it. If it's not Caleb, it's one of these guys. They're going off at the top.
It's,
but I
it's
really
Caleb
think
or
it's Caleb.
Drake May. That's what it comes down to. But also, I've seen a lot of mocks where Drake May's dropped, and it's Jaden Daniels getting taken. But realistically, if you want to take a look at the 2 or 3 draft or trade up, you look at the Jets in 2019, which the Jets are kind of like they were in our exact same boat here. They were the 6th pick, and they traded up to the number 3 pick for Sam Darnold. Obviously, Sam Darnold sucks, but you take a look at the same situation. They traded with Indy 2 second-round picks and a second-rounder that year.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think there's been rumors of the Giants using those second round picks that we have to move up with the Patriots, but I think Shane appreciates assets, and I think with him seeing him how he'll like trade back instead of trading up, like I can see him going and get his guy. If he falls in love with someone, for sure he'll go and get his guy. But I think he knows that this team has a lot of holes, and those second round picks are going to be very useful. But you got to see, because if he does fall in love with someone, 100%, he's Mr. Scared Money Don't Make No Money. Like he's willing to go up or down.
Yeah. No, yeah, I could see either way. I'm just very interested how this draft plays out. In my opinion, definitely amped up to be great because like so many different things can happen. Like you don't know what the Cardinals are going to do, or just the Pats in general, what they're going to do with that dumpster fire of a roster.
It seems pretty clear those top 3 need QBs.
Yeah,
I think it starts to get crazy after that. I can see the Cardinals trading out because they obviously already traded D-Hop, so I don't know how much they value the wide receiver position as an organization. But if they looked at it, they really need one, and Marv would be a really big get for Kyler, and if they want to keep growing around Kyler. But I could see that pick getting traded too for a king's ransom. But after that, Chargers are probably locked into offensive line, if I was going to guess.
Yeah, that's Olu or Joe Alt.
Joe Alt. Harbaugh's going to come in and he's going to pound the rock, as we saw from the national championship. All he does is hand the ball off. That's why not super sold on JJ McCarthy.
Handoff merchant.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's crazy because obviously as the draft unfolds, we'll see what the crystal ball lining is for the Giants, because you also take a look at receiver. Like we mentioned that top 4, and we didn't even mention, besides Marv, arguably the second best receiver to some people, and maybe even the best receiver in the class is Malik Nabers.
Best receiver in the class. Ooh, hot take. The Ohio State hate.
Don't like Ohio State, but I do like Malik Nabers. Great film. Put together his second consecutive 1,000-yard season in 2023. Finished with 1,569 yards. He's 6 foot, 200 pounds. He caught 72 passes for 3 touchdowns and 1,017 yards in his sophomore season, and then followed up obviously with another 1,000-yard season. And then he also led the country in 10-plus yard plays and 20-plus yard plays, and also 30-plus yard plays, and finished with his collegiate career as LSU's all-time leader in receptions and receiving yards. Beat OBJ on that one. He was also named unanimous All-American and first-team All-SEC for a stand-up campaign. Also, Malik Nabers is still 20 years old until July 28th. So he's a youngin', and he's also got that speed, got that fire. I watched his film. He's my personal, endorse this right now. He's my pick. If he's there on the board, you have to take Malik Neighbors. Such a game changer. And just, LSU produces that blue chip wide receiver one. Want to take a look at Jamar Chase
Yeah.
or Justin Jefferson or even Odell, as we want to go back in our giant history book there.
Yeah.
And he's still young. And you take a look at that one stat, 10 plus yards, 20 plus yard and 30 plus yards. I'm pretty sure the Giants were like a bottom 5 team in explosive plays last season. That could greatly impact the passing game. And definitely whoever the quarterback is, if it's DJ, I feel like they will definitely utilize his speed. People want to argue DJ doesn't take shots downfield, whatever. Jalen High definitely burned some of his guys. But, that Malik Neighbors type of receiver is just, that guy is going to amp up an offensive play calling unit.
So you want to give the hot take of he might be the best receiver in the class. I think the second he steps foot on a football field, he'll be top 10 in the NFL.
100%.
Easy.
100%. 100%.
And I think he's the best. He's discounting Marv, which I think Marv will be generational. I'm sorry.
It's like 1A and then 1A bullet point 1. It's like 1A1.
Yeah, and I think Neighbors is the best receiver the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Coming out. I mean, definitely would have been the best receiver last year by far.
Easily.
By far. And then I think he would have also given that 2022 class a little run for their money. And that was a really good class with Garrett Wilson, Olave, and Drake London. But yeah. I think if he was in that class, I think he's given all those guys a really big run for their money. Obviously, Wilson and Olave, and I think even Drake London have been solid guys coming out. But Malik looks like the real deal.
Love Malik. If he's there, Joe Shane, you better call him right there because, once again, you take a look back at the board, and I feel like quarterback could be very well top 3. You're very skeptical on what the Cardinals want to do, and then obviously they're the Chargers, and I don't think the Chargers could take a receiver, and the Chargers, right? I thought I said Cardinals. The Chargers could take a receiver, and Marv might even fall there. Realistically, maybe that's a little deep there, but I could see Chargers taking Brock Bowers or just going O-line, obviously.
Yeah. And I think it's going to be O-line. I know a lot of people are mocking Brock Bowers to the Chargers. But yeah. I'm so sure that Harbaugh is going to want some big fellas to come in there, and getting a guy like Joe Alt or Olu, I think, and putting them at right tackle. You have to protect Herbert, and he also wants to run the ball. Best way to run the ball is offensive line.
O-line.
Yeah, so they had a lot of injuries with Corey Lindsey being out at center position, but their right tackle play was pretty piss poor. So. I think taking one of those guys, putting them at right tackle, and you got Rashawn Slater and Olu or Joe Alt on the other side, you're setting Herbert up for success. And
yeah,
it's building that front.
Rashawn, he's pretty solid, but probably was the second best O-lineman of his class because Andrew Thomas number 1 there.
This guy
easily by far. But even if Malik Neighbors is taken, there's still a plethora of wide receiver prospects. Definitely one of the deepest classes I've ever seen. That's why, if the Giants want to go get their guy at quarterback, there's still a whole lot of talent that makes up the rest of the draft here. Just to name a few names, you got Rome Odunze, Keon Coleman, A.D. Mitchell, Xavier Worthy, Roman Wilson, and Brendan Rice. All those guys, from rounds 1 through maybe 3 or 4, are probably all going to be available there. Now, we want to take a look at, 1A, Marvin Harrison, 1A1, Malik, and then I would say probably in the 2A club is Rome Odunze, wide receiver out of Washington. He's technically the number 3 receiver in the class, and number 9 overall prospect in 2024 draft class, according to Bleacher Report once again. Produced consecutive 1,000-yard seasons, product totaled 20 touchdowns over the last 2 seasons, had 75 receptions and then 92 receptions. Odunze is also 3 inches taller than Malik Neighbors. So if you really want that, solidified X guy that has the height, he's 6'3", he could get it done. Um, which it might matter to coaching staffs, it might not, but that's pretty much all I got for him. If Malik Neighbors is taken, maybe the Cardinals trade back. They take their guy. Maybe the Chargers I want Malik Neighbors. Then I could see maybe Rome Odunze coming off the board for the Giants.
And I wouldn't be surprised too, because like you're saying, like I think this is kind of similar to the quarterback class this year, where it's like you have your two top guys, and then you have a bunch of guys that like Rome Odunze is definitely up there. I think he's the closest to those two top guys in terms of talent and like size and speed. But there's a lot of guys that are really solid. Like this is a pretty deep wide receiver class with like a couple studs at the top. And then the rest, like if you're finding your guy, like Joe Schoen finds a guy that he really likes, I think there's definitely a couple guys there.
Oh, 100%. I didn't even get into the rest of the guys. Those are definitely my 1 and 2s, my Caleb Williams, Drake May type guys. And then you have later rounds. Like I told you, if Joe Schoen wants to get quarterbacks first, he can totally do that because there is still enough wide receiver prospects to go around. And obviously, Keon Coleman said he would love to play for the Giants. The Giants floated around a lot of wide receiver prospects. I know Keon Coleman and even Brendan Rice, which Rice might be a third-round pick. Coleman obviously is 6'4", 215, has that great catchability, able to high point the football. He was great for Florida State. He was projected to be a second or third round pick, which I can completely see the Giants maybe taking a third round pick on him if he's still there, if we don't address it in the first round. Also taking a look at A.D. Mitchell for Texas, ran a 4.3 40, lean receiver, extreme athleticism, explosive long strider, able to stack defenders, excellent at chopping feet, uses violent jab steps, utilizes length with precision for late snap separation and strong body control. That's definitely another archetype for an X receiver, which this draft really seems, every single guy you look at their prospect grade, X receiver, X receiver, X receiver. The only one that I might say is not an X receiver, but is still very underrated is Roman Wilson out of Michigan, a Harbaugh type guy. We were just talking about him. Ran a 4.29 40. I think the fastest 40 time for a receiver this year for this draft. Extreme elite long speed, capable of outrunning any safety or corner. If it's man coverage, forget about it. Exceptional route runner, ability to win, precision route transitions. He's able to create separation. He displays versatility, potential in special teams, could be a punt or kick returner. Proven ability to make significant plays, as seen while playing with his high-flying reception in key moments. Strong mental toughness and resilience. And, even an extreme thing that I've seen somebody on Twitter say is Giants trade back, they take J.J. McCarthy. Third round, they take Roman Wilson, his wide receiver, which is way too much Michigan for me. But those guys, I really like Roman Wilson as a sleeper, not even just as a Giants fan. If you play, obviously fantasy football, you need a guy, you're planning on getting a receiver or something like that. Definitely Roman Wilson's, you got to take a shot on him, even regardless of fantasy football, even an NFL prospect team, he's definitely going to do wonders and is definitely very underrated in this draft.
Yeah. And even just a couple more guys, just to throw some names around. You want to talk about the LSU factory. You also got Brian Thomas Jr., who was across from Malik Neighbors. He's another huge 6'5", 4-star coming out of high school. Only 21 years old. I'm not sure what he ran his official time. I know he was 4.4 coming out, but 1,000-yard receiver last year as well. Another potential LSU Tiger, go Tigers, that come out. So I think he's really good. And then another guy, a little lesser known, maybe a little Bo Nix prospect, but Troy Franklin coming out of Oregon, another 4.4 4-star recruit coming out. He had a 1,300-yard season last year as well. So another couple names to look out for, and that's what I think makes this class deep. You know, like
This class, yeah. Literally, we just want to go band for band real quick. Xavier Worthy, you know, Texas guy, 4.29 speed. I think he tied. I guess he tied Roman Wilson, but that was unofficial, so that wasn't an official draft. But the only thing with Xavier Worthy, he's a lean receiver. He's a 6'1" guy, but he weighs 163, so very light. Kind of like Jalen Hyatt boat type. You know, he had 12 touchdowns in 2021. You know, he definitely displays his speed. And also, you want to look at his teammate, A.D. Mitchell, ran a 4.3 5.40. Once again, a long lean receiver, explosive long strides, great lateral movement, great strength in his ankles for that foot speed, and very flexible also. Once again, uses violent drab steps, like I mentioned before. Those two guys from Texas could very well be game changers for any team that draft them. So, you know, I'm not going to be opposed if the Giants are like, you know what, screw it. Let's get 2 receivers. Let's get our blue chip A guy and let's take a shot at somebody. Not opposed to that, but that probably means Slayton's on the out. But still love you, Slayton. We'll see what they do. Well, you know, this isn't set in stone at all, but just the depth. And also Brendan Rice, you know, he displayed 4.38, had a nice mix. He's 6'3", 215. So once again, another NFL X receiver. And he has all the raw tools to be, you know, a great receiver displayed by his father in Jerry Rice. So, you know, you don't want to go look down on those father-son duos. You know, you never know. People won't shout out Bronny James, another USC guy. You know, a lot of people are like, he's not as good as his dad. You never know. He got James as his last name.
We know, but it's fine. If you can get me close, that we're there. But if you want to talk about, you know, father-son matchups, how about brothers? Luke McCaffrey running a 4.4 at the combine.
He beat out CMC, and I do think once again he could be a shot in the latter rounds of the draft. You know, obviously he didn't go to, you know, one of those blue chip top tier LSU, Ohio State, Alabama. You know, he went to Rice, right? He went to Rice, or was it? Yeah, it was Rice. Not a huge D1 school, but they definitely can produce you know, talent. You know, Buffalo produced Khalil Mack, so you never know what's going to happen.
And he's got the genes.
He does have the genes. You know, Ed McCaffrey, CMC. I know his mom was like a track runner, I think. Yep. You know, they have the athleticism there. You never know. You actually never know. And I do think that he could be a nice little project for a team that needs, you know, a receiver that doesn't want to spend a lot on a guy. You know, you go test him, build him up, and he could definitely be a good, solid, you know, he was compared to Cooper Kupp. As I heard, you know, you never know. Maybe you get Cooper Kupp 2.0. I know he's really good blocking in the run game. Great, you know, displays great route running, crosses off all the X's and O's, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I think that's a testament to this draft. I would love a little project on the back end of that, you know, with the later round picks. But I think it's really going to depend on what we're doing at the top, and definitely going from there. So. Any shot we get a tight end in here? You know, I heard some Darren Waller retiring, still contemplating retiring. What's good with that? What happens if we're sitting there looking at Brock Bowers? You're talking about this deep class, right?
I guess, you know, throw in Brock Bowers. Definitely tight end 1 in this class. No doubt about it. The thing with me is if he's available and so is Malik Neighbors, I'm taking Malik Neighbors. However, if Malik Neighbors is off the board, Marvin Harrison's off the board, and I'm sitting there with Brock Bowers top of the list, you know what? I'm not opposed to drafting Brock Bowers. You know, he could definitely do wonders running 2 tight end sets. We did that a decent amount. If Waller retires, I don't think he will, but if he does, you know, I still think that Bowers would get a lot of production there, and he could definitely act as a wide receiver 1.
Yeah,
as a tight end.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants came out of this draft. Not saying at the top. I'm not saying Brock Bowers. I don't see them investing that kind of capital into the tight end at the top. but
Yeah.
maybe in the second round, I could see second or third round them taking a shot on a younger guy because Bellinger wasn't them, right? That wasn't their pick. So
No.
I could see them, going out and getting. How about a little Nittany Lion action? Theo Johnson's lighting up the combine.
Hey, yep.
He is
Fastest. I
lighting.
think it was the fastest 40 of a tight end. That's what I saw correctly.
I think he just got beat out by Devin Colt, but yeah,
Yeah.
I think he ended up running a 4.5.
Yeah.
Low 4.5, but yeah, I
Low
think he was.
4.5.
I think when he ran before Devin Colt from Washington, and he ended up running a 4.4. But in terms of all the other metrics, I think Theo has been absolutely lighting up the combine, probably shooting up some boards. So maybe we'll see him go in the second or third round, maybe sneak in.
You never know. A little We Are and him and Chop Robinson, a little duo
Chop.
from Penn State. That would be pretty sick. Just besides little outside the draft news, Giants are looking to add another pass rusher there. As we take a look at their scheme with Wink. Obviously, Wink. You take a look at a lot of the numbers from Kayvon Thibodeau, maybe even some of the other edge rushers that Wink had in his career. They didn't really have the numbers there. So you take a look at Shane Bowen's defense now. And, he likes getting after the quarterback with his edge rushers, dropping his guys back. And I really think that's beneficial as now the Giants are thinking maybe we got to go out. We got to get another guy. Azeez, he's been great, very injury prone. Maybe you could build him up, but just getting somebody else on the other side for Kayvon and them creating absolute havoc with Dex at nose tackle, or maybe even doubling up, bringing back Ashawn, maybe getting another D tackle. This D line has a possibility to be absolutely scary this season. And mark my words, this group might have a run at that Eagle record of most sacks. You never know.
This guy.
Defense wins championships. But besides that, we're gonna roll into our second, maybe third to last point. Is I'm gonna ask you right now, fate of the universe on the line, death being pointed at the earth. Who do you want the New York Giants taking at number 6?
Andre Iguodala. No, I would definitely want Malik Neighbors personally. I know there's a lot of people saying quarterback. I heard a lot of people calling Tommy DeVito a domestic terrorist for taking us out of the top ranks, but chill out with my guy Tommy Cutlets. All right, that was a very fun Linsanity run. We knew what we were getting into, and it would have been way worse. I think for the organization and the players, it's much harder for them to recover from that kind of, like, if they were just losing all those games with, it's so much worse. So I'm fine with the Linsanity run
for the organization.
Yeah, I'm fine with the Linsanity run.
Losses aren't good. And also, if you're a Giants fan rooting for them to lose, you're not a real Giants fan. NFL players and football players in general play to win the game. They're not going to tank just because Caleb Williams or Drake May. They're trying to keep their positions in general. But also, as a Giants fan, I would rather see them win. Go out, upset the Packers, who literally went to the playoffs and nearly upsetted the 49ers there. That felt great, getting a nice victory, underdogs, heavy underdogs with, Tommy D.
Yeah. But I think as well with that is with the NFL draft, we have all these gurus. You got Jamel Kuipers, you got all these guys. You never know what's going to happen. I mean, just look at it last year where, CJ Stroud, the Texans, they won a meaningless game because Lovie Smith was trying so hard. They end up getting a worse pick, and they end up getting CJ Stroud.
Who was better? Probably the best quarterback in that class.
Absolutely. So it's like you can't really predict what's going to happen. It's football. At the end of the day, you gotta draft well, but you don't know. You don't know what's going to happen in free agency. You don't know what they're pulling in. But I think fate of the universe, I'm pulling for Malik Neighbors. I think that'd be really exciting to have a guy that caliber, LSU guy, back in here. I think it's just an offensive weapon. It looks like we're probably losing our Saquon Barkley offensive weapon. So that'll be interesting as well. Oh, we got to pause.
Some updated news on that. Joe Schoen in his presser, if anyone watched that, updated us a little bit on how the negotiations were going, as we were going to touch on free agents in a little bit with X and Saquon. He did talk about how he didn't meet with their agent. News actually broke, I believe, 2 days ago that the initial meeting with Saquon's agent went pretty well. Which even shout out Bobby Skinner of Talking Giants had no I quote had no idea what this means, end quote. So realistically, they had a good meeting. So does that mean Saquon gets paid what he wants? It depends what he's asking for. Because I feel like if he wants to go out there into the market, the Texans, he's been in relation with CJ Stroud. It's really going to depend on what they want to pay him as a running back. Do they want to do like a 3-year type deal or two? 13 mil? I think I saw something like that. Also, you just have to take into account what he wants and what the market is looking like. And I don't think the market's looking great for him. But if he wants to stay a Giant for life and he wants to take a little cut, I wouldn't be opposed to that. However, you take a look at his numbers, they've been declining. I love Saquon. I literally have his first game ticket right there. But his stats been declining. He's his rookie year self really is nothing but in the past now. You take a look at his yards per carry, efficiency, yards after contact. Realistically, the O-line hasn't helped him that much, but still his stats have not been nowhere near that second year of his career. And, maybe that the Giants are due for a breakup, which is sad, but, it might positively affect both sides. You just really can't tell. I wouldn't be opposed to them bringing him back. Obviously, like you said, with Malik Neighbors, could be that explosive guy because, you take a look at a lot of the guys teams that win the Super Bowl. This was a stat. This is an argument for why you don't need that great running back. CMC fumbled hugely on the first drive, and you take a look at the Chiefs. Isaiah Pacheco still on his rookie deal. These guys that have won the Super Bowl, I believe that the only first-round pick. Actually, I don't remember the last first-round pick that won.
Leonard Fournette.
Leonard Fournette.
It was Leonard Fournette.
With the Bucks.
Yep.
And you even take a look at the Bucks. They were stacked at receiver, and obviously have the GOAT, great O-line. They were stacked all around. But you take a look at anybody else like LeGarrette Blount, who literally was with the Pats. I don't think he was a first-round pick. And the Eagles. Yep.
Yes.
Did both. But all these Super Bowl winners, not huge, especially the Chiefs. Look at the Chiefs, with Pacheco, Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Yeah, and I think the other thing with that too, it really comes down to cap management. And that's really what it comes down to. Like you're saying, 2 years, $13 million for a 27-year-old running back. He just turned 27, February 9th. Happy birthday, belated Saquon. But for a running back, as sad as it is, as sad as the market is, you just call it what it is. That is on the older side. I mean, Leonard Fournette couldn't find a job last year, and he was only 28. And it's like, unless you're that McCaffrey level pass catcher, which Saquon is a good pass catcher, he might think he's a McCaffrey level pass catcher, but he's not. And the running has definitely been on a decline, but it's
hindered injuries too.
Injuries, but the problem is, if we're giving that 13 mil to Saquon, that could possibly be like 2 offensive lineman depth pieces that with Carmen Brasillo, is looking to bring in some guys. I heard some rumors with guys he worked with on the Patriots and the Raiders and things like that he's trying to bring in. So that's $13 million for one guy at a running back position. I hate it, but it might be a little much. But we got to see what they really want to do, and we can go into a little bit of the cap if you'd like.
And we need some music to the cap corner.
Cap corner. So I think everyone saw recently that Golinsky is done. Might bring him back, but in terms of cap, they are saving close to $6 million it's only $1.5 million of dead cap getting rid of Glowinski. I think this is going to a lot to do with the offensive line coach coming in. He's going to try to bring in the guys that he wants, and that cap number isn't really the best for how he performed. So that'll get the Giants up to about 38, 39 million, which is pretty middle of the pack. That's not really a lot, I'll say, but obviously a lot of money, but middle of the pack. I think that would put them at 13th in the league, in terms of money available. And then with that, they still have those holes that we were talking about. So, Adoree', Saquon, X, and then other kind of like ancillary guys that like have helped out with Isaiah Simmons coming over, A'Shawn Robinson, a lot of those guys that you need to kind of fill those holes. They might not have been the highest performers, but you need that, like those positions filled.
Yep.
I don't know if you have anything on those free agents. Anybody that you're dying to have back?
All the skeptical comments about X. I really do think that X is coming back.
I was gonna say if you don't say my guy X, we're gonna have some problems.
I think
I'll bring down his glove.
Coming back. We did get his glove. We got his glove. We got his signature.
And a signature. Very nice.
Shout out
very
X.
Nice guy. Shout out X.
Very nice guy. Met him multiple occasions. Very, very good guy. You got to bring back X. And this might not be something. This might not be something that X wants to hear if he's listening somehow, somewhere. Shout out X. You're the GOAT, man. But the Giants probably were looking at. I even listened to the Talking Giants interview with Jordan Raanan on this topic, and a lot of the coaching staff really. The skeptical allusions and comments about X was if he'll stir up drama. We've seen the past two coaching staffs have drama with him and whatever, discluding the ATV incident, just like disciplining players. What happened with Wink last year, and even what happened with the prior coaching staff, there was a few issues there. So I feel like the Giants definitely taking into account. He's not going to be a goody two shoes. I believe Bobby Skinner used. Of a player, he's you gotta do what you gotta do. He's gonna be a player. He's gonna be whatever he wants to do. But he's still discounted from how well he played. Even in this Shane Bowen offense, you gotta get excited. Shane Bowen offense, he's moving primarily to like a too high look. That he's gonna definitely pat X's stats, and I feel like he'll be there, get some more picks. He's gotten picks in Wink's scheme, and Wink's scheme isn't very player friendly. When it comes to stats, individual player stats. So you take a look at these, these things. The Giants definitely had to take into account if he'll stir the pot a little bit, and you don't really want that in the locker room or talking to the media. But I think besides that point, you got to bring him back. Leader of the defense. Obviously, he had his play calling stripped by Wink to be given to Bobby Okereke. He definitely didn't like that at all. Stirred the pot a little bit. But I feel like if you pay him, maybe he'll turn a new leaf and be like, all right, I'm being paid. But it's also going to depend on how much he wants to be paid. He's definitely going to be looking to be paid like a top safety. I think Jesse Bates was paid last year. I don't have the exact numbers. I don't know if you pull that up real quick.
Yeah.
But Jesse Bates was paid. Definitely, I think he wants to be close or maybe mirrored to what he got paid.
He got 4 years, $64 million with $36 million guaranteed.
Yeah, I think he wants probably something close to that range, which is definitely a little pricey, but I feel like you got to give it up. X is still a young player. I don't even know if is he 24? Isn't he still a youngin? 23?
I can double check for you.
I'm pretty sure he has yet to turn 24.
X is 24.
He is 24.
Yes.
All right, so he's still a 24 young guy, and he still has a maybe. I don't know. You could say another.
And for reference, Jesse Bates was 26 when he signed that contract.
Yeah, there you go.
So
X is just playing at extremely high level.
And I think one thing for X that goes in his favor when you're talking about that like adversity with the coaches, it seemed like Dabs had his back, and he was going up against Wink, and it seems like Wink may have been the problem. Hopefully. Because it would be much worse if Dabs is the problem. But I think personally it might be that he was the issue. So X even entertaining the offer, I think just proves that he's okay with the current coaching staff.
Yeah, you want to take a look at that argument and that whole thing that happened at the end of the year. You never know. You actually never know what's good with that, because you have basically you have enough evidence to look at both sides. If you want to say that Daboll is the problem, which I pray and I hope that Daboll isn't the problem. And, as I'm looking right now, I don't think he is, but he's definitely seemed to be more of a player's coach. He had X's back, didn't really discipline him the way that Wink wanted, and Wink got a little offended by that way for his remarks on on a situation. But you take a look at Mike Kafka too. Kafka wanted to leave because we got reports about how Dave stripped his play calling duties, and then he would pick him up. And I believe he won a few games, and then he just, he was like, hey, I'm rolling right now. Let me keep rolling as a play caller. Then he gave it back to Kafka. So he really was, Kafka's the OC that's supposed to be calling the plays, and Dave secretly stripped that and gave it back and stripped it back, trying to discipline him on what he wanted to call or and so what and not and whatnot. But still, I feel like these problems with both coordinators. I think Kafka was interviewed for the Seahawks head coaching spot and a few other OC candidates. Kafka wants to call the plays so he can move up, to a head coaching job or maybe a lateral movement to maybe another team. But I feel like Dave's, they denied him interviewing anywhere else. So I guess Dave's really likes him, wants him back. So that's really going to determine on what is he going to do with the play calling. If this is his last dance or whatever, I don't think it'll be. I think they'll still get another 2 years, unless they go like
Yeah, it has to be bad.
1-16. It has to be terrible.
If they're competing next year, I think they'll get another shot. That run to the playoffs and coach of the year, I think, has bought him time for respect. But
definitely more time.
Yeah, more time than the other guys. I think we went from Coughlin just always being there to this revolving door of coaches that we're like 2 years and they're out. But like I think Dabbs for sure bought himself the time. If he pulls together a respectable team this year, I think they stay there for sure.
100%. But like I said, players coach. There was a lot of skeptical comments about how that coaches don't want to coach with Dabes. However, we got our staff here. There was a lot of rumors that's why a lot of the DC candidates didn't want to come here. But that's a story for another day. We have our team. We have our team assembled. But he's definitely a player's coach, and I think that's why X wanted to stay. I saw rumors that if Wink was staying, X 100% wanted out. But since Wink is out, X wants to stay because he likes Dabes.
I love it. And I think he should stay, and I think that's where I could see the free agent money going to outside of offensive line. I see the free agent money going to a lot of the defense.
Defense definitely. They're going to probably want to cater to what Shane Bowen wants. So definitely, I'll take a look at edge rushers. I feel like edge rushers could be a thing, maybe even another D tackle. But I think they do bring back Ashawn, if I had to guess. He played really well last season after we got rid of Leonard Williams.
Who is also a free agent.
Who you never know. Maybe we just bring him back.
He did say he wanted to play next to Dexy as long as possible.
Well, you know what, Dex? Let's go. Bring him back. But we'll see how that situation goes. But I'm glad we got the linebacker situation all figured out. But what I will say is I think Adoree is not going to be back.
No.
If I had to guess, you take a look. He's missed games every single year. I think last time he didn't was 19 maybe. But I know he's missed games every single season. And last year he didn't have a great season. He had a pretty bad season. And I don't think this year will be as bad as last year, but I don't think you got to stick with him. He's aging. Corners drop off is very quick. And I feel like at this point, you draft in the later rounds or maybe even a free agent. We were looking at L'Jarius Sneed, but he got tagged. You take a look at some of the guys at corner here. Definitely a possibility for the Giants to draft another guy, maybe third, fourth round pick, and try to build him up. Obviously, Trey Hawkins last season excelled in the preseason and in the beginning of the year, was out there a lot. They actually moved Adoree around to nickel just for Trey Hawkins. He didn't play that well. He's a 6th round pick. Give this guy time to develop. We have Jerome Henderson, one of the greatest cornerback coaches in the league, and it's only a few times. The clock's ticking. I think Jerome Henderson might be getting a DC coaching job somewhere. There was some skepticism if he was coming to the Giants as a DC, but guess they want him at corner, and he's still a great corner coach. So developing some of our young guys, maybe even taking another shot at another corner, a young guy, and really just evolving this, with obviously Tay Banks at the helm, just locked down. Our other, our strong safety, pretty sure isn't Jason Pinnock a free agent or no?
I don't think so. I think he has an unguaranteed contract.
Oh yeah, all right. So
But
then he's
in
locked
terms
up.
of Legarius, just a FYI, that was tagged to be traded. He's seeking a trade. Just,
Oh, I don't know how much he would be worth in a trade, but
I mean, we
still
got a
possible.
couple second round picks. It depends.
I wouldn't be opposed to that.
But one second, they obviously have a relationship for trading Kadarius. Maybe they will be a little sour on it, but there is a open line of communication. So you never know.
Kadarius did help them win the Super Bowl. Don't
He did
forget
help
about
them
that.
win one. You're not wrong. The second
So,
one, he averaged about 5 high fives in the locker room off the bench.
yeah, and went live and started talking smack to everybody. How he won back to back. I was
Yes.
like, all right, KT, there you go. But other than that, you have anything to add? Finally,
I think I'm excited. And if they're interested in running back, Trey Benson just ran a 4.3, and he's like 6'2". So Florida State running back.
I did see the Tennessee running back ran something crazy, and Jalen Hyatt. Yeah, Jalen Hyatt endorsed him. He said, "You're a giant." So you never know. I was about to tweet it out. Jalen Hyatt confirms Saquon Barkley not coming back.
That would be a pretty good one.
That would definitely hit the hot market.
Yeah.
But yeah, so draft is in about 2 months, right?
Yep.
End of April.
End of April.
Wow, I think I might be back for that. That'd be sick. If we're back, you never know. We might live stream for the draft. That would be sick. Do a live stream.
I might be in Croatia, but it's okay.
All right, I'll do it solo. No worries. I'll be like, all right, Malik Neighbors, you are a New York Giant. But anyway, any other comments?
I think that's all I got. Let's
all
get
we
some
got.
Malik Neighbors.
Oh yeah, give me Malik. Combine stuff still going on. I think the Penn State basketball team just blew a lead. Yep, they lost 75-70. They were up by 24 points, I believe. My group chat was blowing up while they sold the bag.
Damn.
Absolutely crazy. Everyone's going crazy. So I actually was thinking of taking Minnesota to come back. I think they were plus 800 at a point, and I was like, I feel like there's something rumbling in the ground. It's March.
Oh, March. All we want is that Giants madness.
All we want is the Giants madness. That's all we're waiting for. We're waiting for the end of April to see who the New York Giants draft. And with that, we will be back sometime with another pod. Might just be updating on some stuff. We'll see if any crazy news comes out about free agents and stuff. If not, we will see you guys for draft season, draft night. Johnny Manziel. Anyway, that'll do it. And we'll see y'all in the next one.